This is big breaking emergency news. We are now seeing talks of the 14th Amendment being activated. That is what is being talked of right now from high-level ranking member officials inside of our government. All right, they are warning that this could also lead to a, quote, potential civil war. That is the warnings we're seeing. All right, we're also getting warnings from Biden right now saying that they're holding emergency meetings for the situation inside the Middle East. We will get some more details on that. And we are also seeing major disruptions of trading and stock manipulations potentially. Okay, everyone's seen what's going on with the stock market today, but behind the scenes, they have been locking people out from trading. Okay, we have seen company after company go down, and we're going to cover all that. So let's dive into the details here really quick, guys. Please just hit it up for me down there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm posting every single day, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news. All right, so lots of stuff going on. 14th Amendment news talked about being activated right now, and they're saying that if they use this card, this 14th Amendment card, that high-level officials are saying they're going to use, then I'm going to show you guys a video in just a second. Then this could lead to civil war inside the U.S. That's what they're warning of. All right, we also have emergency meetings right now. Biden and Vice President Harris are now in the Situation Room, or have been in the Situation Room today, holding emergency meetings on developments inside the Middle East. Okay, this is what Biden said earlier in a statement. He said, "I was briefed in the Situation Room on developments in the Middle East. We received updates on threats posed by Iran and its proxies, diplomatic efforts to de-escalate regional tensions, and preparations to support Israel should it be attacked again. We also discussed the steps we are taking to defend our forces and respond to any attack against our personnel in a matter and place of our choosing." All right, that is a statement that Biden just put out in the last few hours. They are saying that they are on high alert for these attacks, and the U.S. could respond as well. All right, we are also seeing major outages of trading and disruptions of the stock market. Okay, and we are also seeing attacks on U.S. air bases. We will get to that in a second too. But these disruptions that have been happening in the stock market, okay, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, and Ameritrade all took their services offline this morning so people could not get into their accounts and sell their stocks. Okay, there has been a massive dip off that happened over the weekend. People are relating it to what's going on in Japan, relating to their interest rates hikes. Okay, they had a hike, and they're saying that caused major disruptions in a lot of these markets. All right, and these companies shut off access to everyone's account. Charles Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, Ameritrade, people were reporting they could not get into their accounts to sell their stock. So the big guys can sell their stuff off. The big guys can still move their money around, but you individually, you cannot get into these apps. They just lock them down. This is what they always do whenever there's big swings in the market like this. They shut down the apps and you cannot trade. E-Trade was down, right? All these different trading companies were offline this morning, so you could not respond to the market. So that's how it's going to be too if there's ever some type of big economic collapse or scenario like that. The banks and the banking apps, the ATMs, all these things, they're not going to work. All right, they're going to shut them down. If there's ever a bank run scenario, they're going to lock down the ATMs. They're going to lock down bank accounts, and they're not going to let you get your money out of these accounts. All right, they're going to try to mitigate the damage and manipulate it, but in the background, they can still do their thing. Right, they can still move money around, sell money. Warren Buffett, all right, just dumped massive amounts of stocks, and he's holding his largest cash reserves ever right before all this happened. Okay, this was just reported last week. that he pretty much dumped everything and is just holding pure cash right now. And then what do you know, this weekend we have a major crash. So now all the big buyers can come up and buy all the stuff up for cheap. Okay, let's get into what's going on with this 14th Amendment news. All right, because this is big and this is a major warning for our country. They're saying that this could bring us on the edge of a civil war. Okay, so something that we're talking about here is the 14th Amendment and Article 3 of it. Okay, or Section 3. Sorry, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. That's what's being debated here. And I want you to listen to what this congressman just said. This is a high-ranking Democrat congressman. He's on multiple different committees. He's on the House. He's the ranking member for the House Oversight Committee. And he's a high-level Democrat. Okay? And this is what he said. This is Jamie Raskin. I want you to listen to what he said. This is very important. And this could potentially change our country. And this is what their plan is. Their plan has been revealed. It's to use the 14th Amendment. So I want you to listen to this really quick.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that. What can be...
All right, so I want you to listen to this key part again really quick. Listen to this really quick again, what he's saying.
What it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025 to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in civil war conditions, all because...
All right, did you hear that? He is saying that Trump might win. And he's saying if Trump does win, then they are going to activate the 14th Amendment. Congress is going to do this and say that Trump is not allowed to be president. And he is saying that this could potentially activate a civil war. Right? And I don't want this. I don't want any of this. That's what a top-ranking member, the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, he's on dozens of different committees. This is a top Democrat. And Jamie Raskin, and he is warning of this. He is saying that if Trump wins, he's saying on January 6, 2025, they are going to prevent him from taking office by activating the 14th Amendment. All right, and this is what the 14th Amendment says. All right, this is the 14th Amendment, Section 3, disqualification from holding office. It says, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of a state legislature, or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in an insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to enemies thereof. All right, so they're essentially saying that Trump caused an insurrection. All right, we've all heard this narrative that they've pushed for years and years. Okay? And he's saying that they're going to use the 14th Amendment to disqualify Trump if he wins. Congress is going to try to do this and enact this. All right, that's the push that he's pushing for. And he's saying that this could even cause a civil war. He's saying that they need more security. and protection for members of Congress and all this stuff. All right, so they're really setting this narrative. You can see it when he's talking about this. All right, I'm just going to show you guys a screenshot on here just for like copyright reasons, okay? Because this is a video that's going around and it's getting hit if you play the whole thing. So I'm just going to show you a screenshot of him playing the audio here, but in his face you can see he's thought of this before. He's thought of this scenario, he's played it through his head, and this is the card they're going to play, is that they're going to say, hey, Trump is not eligible. He did this, quote, insurrection. Right? And because that's why they kept using that term. They've been planning this for years. That's why that term kept being used over and over, because they knew that this term was in the 14th Amendment and they can use this. This is one of their final cards they can play. They've already tried to play so many different cards. Lawsuits, assassination attempts, all these different things. And now this is one of their final cards that they can play, is the 14th Amendment, and to say it's Trump's disqualified, even if he wins. All right, that was the scenario he's talking about. Is Trump's going to win, but then we're going to have to stop him and shut him down. All right, that's what high-ranking Democrat members are warning of right now. All right, so make sure you guys are getting prepared, getting ready. If something like this does happen, we don't want this, guys. We don't want a civil war in our country. Okay, but if something like this bubbles up, some kind of civil unrest does bubble up, we're already seeing this around the world in the UK right now. This could happen here. We could have civil unrest here. Things bubbling up. And it could be used to implement martial law-like scenarios, right? And to shut down elections. Shut down these. He's actively talking about Trump wins the election and we're going to disqualify him. Then what? Who's president then? All right, we're kind of in a constitutional crisis if something like that does happen. Who wins? The person that lost the election now just wins because who does the vice president? Does Trump's vice president now become president? How does any of this even work? All right, this is a constitutional crisis that they would be throwing us into. All right, uncharted territory. So make sure you guys are stocked up, prepped, ready to go. All right, I've been dealing with this hurricane, and our power was actually out for hours this morning. All right, we woke up with the power out, and it was out for a while. All right, I had to get the generator running, to get the fridge going, and to get some things charged up. All right, I got the generator going, but one thing to think about during these hurricanes, it was pouring rain. The yard was soaked, so you have to have some kind of system for your generator to run outside in the rain. I have these little blocks that I put it on to keep it up out the water. Okay, and then I had just a little tarp. All right, I hooked my tarp up to the fence and just made it a little angle like this, a little triangle, and put the generator under that to keep it dry. All right, so have a strategy for that too, because we've been in the middle of this Hurricane Debbie, that's now moving through Georgia and South Carolina. All right, so I was glad I got prepared yesterday, filled up my tanks, and was ready to go. All right, but let's get into this other news here. Lots of stuff going on still. All right, they're having emergency meetings for the Middle East, and Biden said he just talked today with King Abdullah of Jordan on efforts to de-escalate regional tensions, including through an immediate ceasefire and hostage release deal. And it says the United States is proud to be Jordan's partner in promoting peace and stability. That's also another statement that the Biden team has put out recently. Okay, so they're reaching out. This is another front here. Okay, another front that we could see pop off. All right, a big war could pop off before the elections. Maybe it causes some type of disruptions. Maybe there's some type of cyber attack. Shuts these things down. I'm not saying it's going to, but just a few days ago, we were issued a warning in a memo on these exact things potentially happening, right, by multiple agencies. We also have attacks on U.S. service members, right, and U.S. military bases inside of Iraq. It says 5 U.S. service members were injured and at least 1 severely as a result of tonight's rocket attack by Iranian-backed forces on Al-Assad Air Base in West Iraq. This is the air base that's always getting hit. Al-Assad, it is in a very dangerous region, right? And it's constantly getting bombarded and attacked by these groups. And it says following tonight's Iranian-backed rocket attack on Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq, which resulted in injuries to at least 5 American service members, U.S. President Biden spoke to members of his national security team about response options, though it's not known if a decision was made by the president, right? So potentially responses could be coming from this airbase attack as well, much less attacks from the U.S. teaming up with Israel and defending them and launching potentially preemptive attacks as well, right? Now we could see responses from this U.S. military base that has been hit too, right? So lots of big news going on here, guys. 14th Amendment talk. And this is one of their big cards. I'm telling you, they have a few big plays that they can bring out right now before the end of the year and even after Trump wins. They're saying even if all the other cards fail and Trump still wins somehow, then they could even activate this 14th Amendment after he wins, after all the electors vote, everything. He's saying that they could activate it on January 6th and shut it down at the last second, the last moment. All right, so this is big that they're bringing this up, that they're talking about this, they're bringing it out in the open, because a lot of times these plans happen in the background, and we don't really hear about it or see it until these things are out in the open, right? But now they're openly talking about this and plotting this, all right? So get prepared, guys. This U.S. Congressman, ranking member, is warning of civil war in the U.S. He's saying that we need heavy security in the U.S., right? And think of, if this is stopped, this is disrupted, think of the aftermath as well too. Okay, think of the next 4 years after something like that happened inside the U.S. It's not going to be a healthy situation in the U.S., to say the least, right? So that's why I believe personally the best bet is to be getting yourself off of these grids and systems before they're disrupted, before they're shut down, before there's a major hit, before there's a social credit score, right? Before there's internet ID and all these things, right? It's already being set up around us right now. And in the future, you might be locked out. Now it's Trump, but in the future, it could be you. It could be you individually where you're blocked out. You're blocked out of your banking. You're blocked out of your buying goods from certain places or companies, or buying certain things, all right? Because you don't have the right opinions. You don't have the right beliefs. These things are coming. These systems are being set up. And that's the future we're moving towards with these dystopian ideas being brought up, these 14th Amendment ideas, right? They're going for it. So I believe personally the best option is to be opting out essentially right now, right? Still vote, make your voice heard, all right, which is discouraging in itself. I understand. It's still one of these things that's still, it's discouraging. It's overwhelming the way what we've seen happen before. A lot of times it does feel almost hopeless. Okay, but we can't give up. It's the only system we have. It's the only system we have, so we can't give up on this system yet. All right? But I understand. I feel like that sometimes too, but I have to remind myself, this is the system we have. These are the options we have, and we need to at least try with what we have for now. All right, but stay engaged in that sense, but then disengage in other ways so you are not reliable on these systems, like this economic crash and this recession, this destabilization that we're seeing. Okay? All these things are bubbles. Back away, disengage from these things, and invest in real assets, your homestead, stuff that's right in front of you that you can touch. It's not in the bank. Nobody can lock it up and keep it away from you. Invest in these things that are right in front of you, that have real value to you and your family right now. All right, land, food security, animals, preps, defense, self-defense, all these things, security. Invest in these things now. All right, because look at it this way, all right? The dozens of chickens that I have, right? They didn't crash in value today. Stock market's crashing, they didn't crash in value. They just went up in value. Actually, because if we have a recession, it's hitting the fan, they're going to go up in value. They're going to be more valuable. People are going to be trying to, these are adult laying hens that lay every single day. And you can eat them too if you need them, all right? Their value is only going up. And growing your own food, producing your own way, that is only gaining more equity, all right? Every single day, as things collapse economically, socially around us, the equity that you build in your homestead and your life and your food security for your family, that's going up. It's always going up when the other way goes down. All right, so that's one of the only ways to really be insulated from these events. All right, because I didn't wake up panicking from the stock market stuff, because I'm really not invested in this. Okay, that's not what I really invest my money in. I invest my money into my homestead, into preps, into equipment, into chicken coops, satellite internet, tools, equipment, tanks, all these things. This is what I'm investing my money in all the time. I don't have extra money to dump in the stock markets or crypto or whatever. So I'm not worried about that. And anytime something like that crashes or whatever, it's just more assurance for me that I'm doing the right thing here. All right, because if it hits the fan, I have dozens and dozens of chickens I can eat for 2 months. All right, they're giving me eggs every day. I can eat their eggs, and I can eat them for months. And I have preps to have fresh meat, and I have a ton of canned meat, and preps, and rice, and water tanks, and gas tanks, and generators, all these things. All right, that's what I invest in. That's never... The generator that I bought this thing 3 years ago. It's $200 more now, a couple years later, right? It's all going up in price, so I'm telling you. So I know I'm ranting here, guys, but it's just my little 2 cents on what's been going on in the world here, is that invest in yourself, invest in your sustainability, your reliability, your homestead, your preps, all these things. Even your preps, you bought your preps a year ago, well, the food's more expensive a year later now, so you just beat that inflation on those preps as well. All right, you're not going to lose when you invest in yourself and your preps and your homestead. All right, so thank you guys. Please hit it up for me down there. It helps get these warnings out so people know. I hope you guys have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.